So yesterday we discussed about introduction to CATIA, right? I'm just writing introduction to CATIA. Those who are new, you can just have an idea. So introduction to CATIA, we discussed yesterday, CATIA V5. And in this case, we understand, hope I'm clear, my audible and my voice is very clear. You can able to see my screen first, what I'm writing. Please tell yes, that's enough. Please tell me yes. In chat, you just tell me yes. Yeah. Perfect. So yesterday, when we start discussing, first number one, we discussed that when you start any of the models, part model, the file extension of part is a single part, right? It's a single part. And for a single part, you should have the file extension is .cat part. This is what we discussed, right, yesterday, number one. So part design means we are going to work on part design workbench, right? This is the fundamental thing. Number two, we also learned what is meant by two things: geometrical, right, constraints, right, geometrical constraints, and dimensional constraints, right? These are the two things which we checked it yesterday. Both geometrical constraints. What is the difference between these two? I'm just drawing a line, right? This is my length x and this is my length y. So this is called dimensions and this is called dimensions. With the reference to this coordinate system, that is global coordinate system, x and y and z, right? If I fix this point, that means this point I will make it, that is called geometrical constraints. So this is the fundamental things which you need to understand, all right, before we getting into that. And we understand what is called as what we call as a grids, right? The grids are something which used to design for Sketcher. So in Sketcher, we learned some of the very important thing yesterday in Sketcher Workbench. What is sketch? What is sketch? And how to start proceeding with the sketch. Today we'll continue. Okay. So that is the one fundamental thing which we'll be seeing today. Okay. So I'll just stop this video and share my screen. Okay. So welcome. And in this, you'll be understanding some of the very fundamental objective of learning the application. So I hope everyone is having the CATIA application, and let's start building this one. So first, mechanical part design. Once you get on this mechanical part design, you can able to see that all the fundamental applications will come, like what you see on the screen, right? And you can see part body, all the stuff. Don't worry about this, I will teach you later. So, and all your sketch will be coming here and here. So first thing is that you can move anywhere in the screen like this. You can move anywhere in the screen. So I can close it. I can just move it anywhere in the screen. So it is confusion, right? For you people, I'm just aligning everything in the screen. For you default, it will be aligned. Say for example, when you create the first feature, yesterday we discussed that we need to have a sketch-based feature, right? What is sketch-based feature? The sketch-based feature means you need to have sketches for this one: pad, shaft, rib, all these things. Then we will have something called dresser feature, where we'll be giving all these fillets, all the stuff. And before that, we will have something called sketch. So these are very fundamental things which you need to understand before we get into the concept. Yesterday we discussed, I'm just brushing up. Now, what I do is that I'm going to click on my sketch. See, excuse me, gentlemen, please don't write anything on the screen. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to click on my sketch and see that you see all the grids on the screen, right? And yesterday we discussed what is grid. Switch on, switch off. Always make a point that this particular, right, this particular thing and this one should be switched on. Don't even switch off. Always make this one as switch on. So this should be always switch on. So it should be switch on. Always it should be switched on. And similarly, you see in the bottom you have it. Don't even do that mistake. So this one, see that, I'm going to make this one, this 3 should be switched on. Understood? So always remember, I will tell you why. I'll tell you why. Switch on, this 5 elements should be switched on by default. Don't even switch off. You will have a major implications if it is switch off. You will not see whether my sketch is fully constrained or not, all the stuff, right? Clear? So I'm just going to clear this one. So what is the first thing you need to understand? There are different types of geometrical constraint. Yesterday we discussed. One is called a dimensional constraint, where you can able to give the dimensions. The other one is all about your constraint definition box. That means you can use constraint defined in dialog box and create the constraints. Now in this case, what I'm going to do, yesterday's points only, I'm going to just draw my line, rectangle. See, I'm going to just draw my rectangle. And this rectangle can fly. See, this can fly, right? And at the point, you see here that this rectangle, similarly, I will just push it everything over here. I can just see that. I'll just keep it over here, right? And you can see that I would like to give the dimension for this one. When I would like to give the dimensions, there are different ways of giving the dimensions, as I told you yesterday itself. The reference point, right? So in this case, what I do is that you just see that I would like to give h, v, and h. That means at any point of time, this line will be horizontal only. At any point of time, this line will be vertical only. If you delete this one, see that if you delete this one, what will happen? You can make these changes. See this, right? So I would like to make this line always inclined, means you can make it inclined, click on this dimension and give this dimension. Angle between this one and this line is this angle. So can you make this line vertical now? Horizontal? Not possible, because we are given angle constraint. So delete this one first. So, but now you would like to make this line vertical, right? So select this line first and go to this constraint. See, once you select this one, it gets activated. Just select this one, go for this and make this line vertical. So that means your component becomes vertical. This is the meaning for that one. So that means this constraint box is called for geometrical constraints, and this is for dimensional constraints, right? So now in this case, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to give this dimension, see this dimension, 59.158, and I'm going to click on this one and give this dimension as 118. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell that this is 120 mm. Just give it and just click on this one and give it as 1, say for example 60 mm, and just give the dimensions. So now if you see, I have given the entire sketch for my dimensional constraint. Now I would like to give my constraints with reference to coordinate system. That means this is my global coordinate system. So once you see this, you are in a global coordinate system. That means your rectangle is positioned. You can't move that in part design workbench, or you need to move it in the Sketcher workbench. So that means just double click on this one and ensure that this particular point, right? And this particular point, yesterday we discussed, I'm just refreshing it once again. Ensure that these 2 points fall exactly on this one. So this is called geometrical constraint. That means from here, what you learn today is that there are 3 points to be referred in this case. Always number one is that your sketch should be fully constrained, right? Sketch should be fully constrained. Sketch should be fully constrained. Okay, it should be fully constrained. So you use this dialog box, right? use this dialog box. Sketch should be fully constrained. That's the meaning of that one. That means whenever you do it, fully constraints. To make it fully constraints, what is the point? So to make this fully constraints, it should be green color. The sketch should be green color. Right? Green color indicates that the sketch is fully constrained. Okay. So I'm just writing constraint. Hello?
ఇది కవర్ కాదు నల్లది లైట్ కొడతా ఫ్లాష్ లైట్ అది కవర్ కాదు.
Who's this? Who's this? Okay. Just don't disturb during the class. Okay, fully constrained. So this is what we did, right? To make it fully constrained. So then what we do is that next point is that you see that if it is white, okay. Number two, if it is white, it is under constraint. If it is white, it is under constraint. And if it is pink, third, you just make a note, third one, if it is pink, it is over constraint. Okay, this is the concept. So in this case, this color currently is white. The sketch color is currently white. See that? My sketch color is currently white. That means it is under constraint. I have to make it fully sketch means fully constrained means I have to make it green color. So what I do, I ensure that this line and this here, see that, see, observe here, control, select your control line, right? Select this line for an example, select this line and this line, ensure that it falls exactly there. So that means I'm converting one by one into a fully constrained sketch. So here I made this line is horizontal. Next, I can make this line and this one can be given dimension. Even I can give dimension, but that this distance between this line and this vertical distance is nearly about 25 mm. So that means this sketch is fully constrained. Now, if you give unnecessary dimension, what can happen? While doing the manufacturing or any challenges, it can have some challenges. Unwanted dimensions are not required. Already you are given 60. So if you try to give here 60, see that it turns to pink. So don't give such unnecessary dimensions because it is not recommended and it is not the correct design process, right? So what is required, you just limit to that. So understood? Any doubts, gentlemen, please? Any doubts so far, please? Any doubts so far? Okay. No. Others, Shweta, Aditya, any doubts so far, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, perfect. So now this sketch is fully constrained, right? So I don't know, because you people are all working on remote. I don't know about that one. That's the reason I'm just asking repeatedly that whether you are able to follow. If any point of time you have doubts, just please chat it so that I can solve, I can understand your challenges and let me know. And I'm recording this session. Once the session is done, I'll be sharing these videos to you, right? That's my intention. Okay. So now in this case, what we did, we have created this profile and I'm going to create my circle. See that I'm going to create my circle. The first thing you're going to learn, circle. Now just tell me, this circle is fully constrained or under constraint? It is under constraint because the dimension is under constraint. So see that this point, I told you, right? Always this should be on. Why this should be on? Just see that geometrical constraint. If you switch off this, Even you are giving the geometrical constraint, it will not be visible. See, for example, I'm just switching off this, and you want to make this line and this circle and this line tangency. See, it will not show. It will not show that there is a tangency because this is switched off. So always remember that this should be switched on. Select this one and just select this point, this line, this arc and this line, and ensure that now you select tangency. You can see that green line. That means this this circle is tangent to that particular point, that line, like that, right? So that means this is the meaning of that one. So we learned what is the importance of this one, right? Then what we are going to learn, what is meant by dimensional constraint. So if this is switched off and try to give it, so it will not come at all. So always ensure that, I will show you that why it is not coming. So always ensure this is on. Both should be on. What is this diagnosis? Whatever, if it is switched off, see that at the bottom, if you switched off, even though you give fully constrained, green color, white color, it will be showing always white. Show that always it is. See that this is my dimensional constraint. This is my geometrical constraints. So I'm not switching off. So don't make this mistake of switching on and switching off. Always ensure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are switched off. If it is switched off, whatever dimension you give it, you can see white only. That means this is under constraint. So always remember that this visualization and the sketch tool, the features of the sketches are on, right? The geometrical constraint is for giving the geometrical constraint, and this is for creating the diagnosis. Okay. So in this case, what we are going to see is that this particular point, see, I'm going to just move all these points, the circle. That means the circle will not come out of this one until unless you delete this constraint. You can just select that and delete with your mouse key. So now it is done, right? So now this point, I can delete it. See that, right? I can delete it, anything. So now what we'll do is that I will ensure I'm going to draw this one and ensure this circle diameter is this much, and ensure I'm going to ensure that this particular point is exactly coincident with this one. So I can give dimension, or I can select it. See that I'm going to select this one and keep it on this curve, on the sketch, and go for a constraint defined, coincident constraint. So that means this point is just lying on this point, that on that line. That's the meaning. But still it is not constrained. So what I'll do, that point from this particular point to this one, I'll give the dimensions. Now this sketch is 38 mm is the constraint sketch which I given, right? So this is how you start building your sketches, fundamental sketches, to take the sketches next to the part design capabilities. Any doubt so far? So now what I would like to do, I don't want all these dimensions. I will teach you some very interesting factor, that how to trim this component. So you're going to learn one of the operation commands, So in that case, just get into operation on the sketch tools, go here, you will have something called quick trim. I'll teach you all this, don't worry. I'm going to click on my quick trim and ensure that I'm going to trim this one, trim this one, trim this one. See, I'm going to select this one and trim this one. See that I get this one. So this is my first level of feature which I developed it. Okay. So now using this, you can start building your component. So I just use this sketch format and ensure that I'm giving the sketch fully constraints. So that is the meaning of creating the fully constraints. So the lesson learned for you, always remember that you are going to use these 4 things switch on always, these 5 components. And we learned what is meant by dimensional constraint, what is geometrical constraint. So I'll just go back now. So in this case, see, I'm going to draw one circle, and I'm going to draw, so this is my circle which I drawn. See that? You can just draw that, right? So that I can zoom this one, and I'm going to give this dimension. and set that this particular dimension, this circle from here, this particular axis is this much distance. Say for example, I'm giving 200, and I'm going to take this point, and with reference to this axis, I'm going to give as 50 mm. So I'm just giving this dimension. See that sketch. Now in this case, what I will do is that I'm going to draw one more circle. See, I'm going to draw one more circle inside it. Now, this circle I would like to make fully constrained. So first thing is you have to give the dimension, right? Dimension. So I'm going to give this dimension as 25 and this diameter as 50, right? Now, select this circle and this circle, go for constraint definition box and check for either of this you can do. That means from here you understand that when you select these two circles, these are all the possible combination of constraints which you can give it. One, either you can make tangency, see that it can be tangency. The other one, I'm just repeating it, I can be concentricity, see that this line, this could be a concentricity, or else you can make this circle and that circle to coincident. We'll see that. Or coincident. So coincident is not possible. Why? Already I given the diameter of 25 and 25. Understand? So these are some of the challenges which you need to understand, that when you give it, you can able to create the constraints, right? So in this case, what we learned, how to give a dimensional constraints and a mix of geometrical constraints for a product development. You're going to develop a product right from this particular zero, right from the concept. Like this is your concept stage where you define all the geometry and specific. Somebody can. Yeah, mute please. Thanks. Rohit, can you mute? Yeah. Surinder, can you mute? Yeah. Perfect. So now what we are doing, we understand that this is the best practice of creating. So for somebody, don't strike. Okay. The first thing is that you need to understand when we start building the sketches, the sketch should be fully constrained, and for fully constrained sketches, it should be fully green color. That fully green means you need to understand that the constraints are fully sketch. Okay. So any doubts so far, gentlemen? Any doubts so far? No. No. Right.
No, sir.
No, thank you. Perfect. Right. So now what we'll do. So this, just a minute. I'm going to. Okay. I'm going to try, give you some more hints. So what happens is generally this Zoom meeting, whatever I have created, right, is just for, just a minute.